stuff.
Good morning. It's been a raucous week. Simply when you get beat by 49, nothing feels good, tastes good, looks good. But above all, no moping. So no coaches moping, no players moping, no equipment guys moping, no SIDs moping, no moping allowed. As we head to another Pac-12 encounter out in Corvallis against Oregon State. Oregon State, of course, hasn't played. Last week got a bye, and I'm sure they've gotten a lot better, addressed some things they needed to address. I'm sure Coach Anderson is getting full attention at all his guys, and I know they're going to play on fire against us on Saturday. The cool thing about Saturday is that they're going to wear white. They're wearing white jerseys, white pants, white helmets. We're going to wear orange helmets, orange jerseys, and orange pants. And hopefully the Oregon State fans will be confused and cheer for us. So it should be fun. Questions?
Does them having so much time to get rid of you guys, do you think that, that gives them any substantial advantage anyway?
I doubt whether they've spent a laborious amount of time preparing for the Idaho State Bengals. I'm sure they're correcting mistakes and even look ahead in their schedule and things they want to get done in this ball game that will gird well for them as they go into their Pac-12 season. Now for us, it's really a lot of the same. We're not really so concerned about Oregon State because we're so familiar with a Coach Anderson coach team, even though we've not directly competed against them. We ran Utah State, i.e. Oregon State's defense with Kevin Clune for a long time here. So defensively, we're real familiar with what they want to do and how they want to play. We're also pretty familiar with what Coach Anderson stands for and what he likes offensively and where they're going to go. So, I don't really need to see a lot of video. I don't need a lot of scouting report because I've admired Coach Anderson for a very long time. His success as a head coach and even his success as an assistant coach, notwithstanding. One of the great men in coaching, one of the great men in our profession, one of the great personalities in the Pac-12.
Mike, first week you never know what to expect. Oregon State went into Minnesota and got beat. It looked like they could not run the ball very effectively. What did you see watching tape of that game? Well,
I don't know if it's so much Oregon State as it was Minnesota. Minnesota's pretty stout on defense. It was a phone booth game. They took everybody into the package and beat up on each other for a long time. And Minnesota was able to wear away at the Oregon State defense and get some heavy packages, double tight end, huge fullbacks, and pound the ball and keep the ball away from Oregon State. And Oregon State just becoming accustomed to a new quarterback. So a little new offensive system. I'm sure that Oregon State's emphasis in this game will be on trying to get some offensive explosiveness, some offensive production, i.e. at quarterback, where Garrettson is their new quarterback, and where they'll try to function with that Pac-12 speed on the outside. So the danger to us is that we repeat what we did last week, which was not play over the top of our corner at safety, number one. And number two, not tackle well or efficiently or effectively as a full team defense. Those are two things that are extremely correctable. Had nothing to do with the way Colorado played, had everything to do with the way we played, that we'll be looking for improvement this Saturday. Because obviously we're going to play an opponent that, by all rights and intents and purposes should be way ahead of us. But hey, we're going to win the game. And to win the game, we've got to get turnovers, get first downs, create scoring opportunities for ourselves early. We've got to be able to hold them off, get our defense off the field by grinding out some first downs, which we were unable to do last week. And to get first downs, we have to have run after the catch and yardage after contact and running back, because we got none of that last week. And that's improvement we can make whether we're playing Oregon State or Oregon State.
Well, just to follow up, Mike, if I can, Anthony Ricks seemed to be targeted last week on a lot of plays by Colorado. And you had mentioned just now about, coverage from the safeties and everything.
It would be lack of coverage.
Lack of coverage from the
safeties. In fact,
what happened and how is that correct?
It's pretty simple. Number one, we never allow a guy to run down the field with only the corner covering him unless we're in a full-out blitz. So anytime you see one of our corners, at any time, downfield by himself on a vertical route, and we have not run a full-out blitz, safety had bad eyes and got sucked up somewhere. Once it was Tyson, once it was Jason Miller, and that's got to be corrected because there's no corner on earth can line up and play against a wide out by himself solo all the time, and that's what happens That's what happened to Anthony. Anthony also had 3 pass interference calls against him, which were great calls, but we'll always trade pass interference calls for catches. The point is, if you're going to get a pass interference call, knock the ball out. So that's the whole point. And the whole point is to play corner around here in any program, but especially around here. You never are solo by yourself. You're going to count on your teammate, i.e. a safety, playing over the top, and we've got to get that corrected. Not only that, we got to get more containment on our pass rush. Quarterback was able to, as opposed to the week before, get outside the pass rush. Now he's coming up the middle of the pass rush. So we got to get the quarterback contained and held up, especially on third downs. So we forced 9 third downs on Saturday against Colorado, and they converted about 6 or 7 of them. And that's unacceptable for any defense.
What are they like on offense and defense?
Well, they're multiple on offense and defense. They can hurt you. They got a great Nall's a big tailback at 6'2", 235. Well, that's as big as our defensive end. So, got to better tackle that cat low. Defensively, they're a 3-4 defense that morphs into a 4-man front, but they blitz and they try to have you misidentify where they're coming from, so the offense gets confused. With 3 young guys in our offensive line, we get confused. We get confused in pregame sometimes. So we're becoming more mature. Our youth is starting to evaporate a little bit in the front after 2 ball games. Guys are now expected to know how to play, and we'll see how that goes on Saturday.
What are the biggest things that you have learned about your team over the past 2 games?
Not much. And we played a team that we overmatched, and we played a team that we undermatched through our own volition. So I don't really know yet. That's a great question, too. I'm not sure what we are yet. I know what we're not. I know we're not a great pass rush team at this point because we haven't identified that guy that's going to be around the quarterback all the time. But otherwise, everything is really open to question. The one thing I feel good about, I don't know for sure, but I feel good about, is great improvement in our kick teams. Our coverage units, our return units, our kickers and our punters have all played quite a bit better through 2 ball games, knock on wood. But that we feel like we've made significant improvement. We knew we were going to make that kind of improvement just because we were older and had more soldier-type guys that could fulfill those roles. And I've not been disappointed. I'm proud of the coaches. I'm proud of everybody that's involved in kick teams. Our kick teams are demonstratively better.
You had Tommy Jewell kick.
Roll punt.
Yeah, roll punt. Is that something that you're planning on doing for the future?
And Sean Cheney, traditional punt. Just one of those deals. You got to be there to see what we're going to do.
What were some of the positives you did take away from that Colorado game?
Again, our kick teams just really played very well. Usually in those blowout games, something happened in the kick game that added to the carnage. Black field goal, black punt return for a touchdown, and that's my 11th one of these things, right? And when we've played the BCS or the Elite 5 teams, man, they whack us in the kick game. And so what happened to us Saturday was pretty good performance by our kick teams and a very sturdy and steady performance by our defense early, 14-0 at the end of the first quarter. And if we could generate some first downs and get to halftime, we'd have a chance in the second half. Unfortunately, we went 3 and out, touchdown, 3 and out, touchdown, interception, touchdown. All of a sudden, now what was tasting like a good meal has turned out to be something like a sack lunch. So.
Oregon State isn't as fast on offense. Does that help your defense, or is it more dependent on how your offense does?
You say Oregon State is not as fast?
Right.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Are they? Okay.
Heck yeah. They're Pac-12 team. There's no difference. 1 to 12. They're all the same. They got a $25 million TV contract. They get good players.
So I guess the offense you're facing, that doesn't help or hurt the defense any more than the offense
Again,
does?
This is a really great question because the answer really is that it's not what Colorado did, it's what we did not do. What we did not do is protect our corners with safety play over the top. That had nothing to do with the fact that they were dropping back and throwing the ball over the top of our corner. Our corner's got to be able to count on never having to be solo. It's not vanilla ice cream back there. There's a lot of flavors that go back there. Those safeties got to have good eyes, and they've got to, stop the deep ball. Mom always said, don't get beat deep. My mom's 85 years old. Mama said, don't get beat deep. Don't get beat deep, fellas. Good enough. Good.
How's it help your team this week?
Really available. No, we're less available than we were last week. Got a great story. I wish I could tell you, but I can't tell you. It's a great story about one of our biggest players. But He's unavailable. So 2 guys unavailable were available last week. John Raheem's unavailable, and Nico Hayes right now is unavailable. But there's a chance Nico might be able to come back, and we'll see it what the availability of John Raheem is on Saturday.
How important is it that your guys aren't sulking, aren't down after that game?
The casualty of any 49-point loss is morale. That's the biggest casualty. And I started this off today by saying no moping allowed. I don't want to hear you. And I saw it from my coaches, and I barked at them, and I saw it from our team, and I barked at them, and hey, no moping allowed. It's a game we play. It's just a game we play. And I don't know why you'd ever feel bad about a game you play. I mean, you could be concerned about your performance, and you could try to make it rectify it, make it better, but no moping allowed.
The coaching ties between Oregon State and ISU, I mean, has that been addressed at all, or does that mean anything? I mean,
doesn't mean anything except maybe to me and Coach Anderson. That's a cool deal, man. He's a great guy. He cut his teeth here. There's a lot. 2 of my coaches played for him or were at Utah State with him, and of course Coach Toon played for him at Ricks College and at the University of Utah. So yeah, a lot of familiarity with Coach Anderson. But it's not just Coach Anderson, it's Kevin Clune, who was at Weber State for a long time. And going back to Coach Anderson, it's not what Coach Anderson did on the field for our guys and with our guys. They're an embodiment of what you do over a long period of coaching, and it's cool for him, I think, to be able to coach against some of his former players that are now certainly our proteges.
Do you think he's going to turn? Oregon State hasn't been a power recently. Do you think he'll be able to turn around like he did with the Utah State?
So I think you mean Coach Anderson?
Yes.
Oregon State?
Yeah.
It's a matter of time. Good coaching is good coaching. $25 million a year to each one of the Pac-12 programs out of the Pac-12 network. I think you can become a really good program at $25 million a year.
How surprised were you when he left Wisconsin?
Not at all.
Oregon State.
Coach Anderson's his own man. There are things in his life that he wants to get accomplished, and there are aspects about Oregon State that are just as good as Wisconsin. So I think it's a matter of strength for Oregon State to be able to attract Coach Anderson to their program.